Okay, folks, good morning. We're going to have to switch to just one camera for the short term because I did do some. We've got the Soviet trucks that are ready to go, and I've got some writing that I need to do on them, and it's very difficult for me to switch between the computer and searching for it. So I've actually saved them on my phone, which means I can't use my phone for the second camera right now. So yeah, we're going to try to get through this as soon as we can. And this all involves writing that is on these Soviet trucks. That's where we're at right now. These Soviet trucks are ready to go to the weathering stage. They've got windows left to be done on them, headlights, and the writing on them and weathering. And then they're pretty much done, not counting the little tarps that we have to do on the back. Hey, good morning, Marcus. So in order to do that, we're going to see how this works. It's just a lot easier to save things on your phone than it is on your computer. I don't do any surfing on my computer at all. It's just not convenient. And so I took a bunch of screenshots. I went on ScaleMates, which, if you're not familiar with ScaleMates, is a website that displays a bunch of model kits and instructions for them. And in doing so, you could see basically what decals are included with each kit, just to get idea, inspiration for other things, or maybe if you're looking to buy the kit, you know exactly what it contains. But it's also a treasure trove of basically decals or examples of vehicles that they have in other areas. So I went on there and I looked at some of the instructions. I took screenshots of them, put them on my phone, and just kind of give you an example. Let's see what, here's one that has a bunch of examples of a bunch of different trucks. Okay, and it's just black and white, it's not a big deal, but I'm going to have this handy here and knock these out so that we don't have only this other camera. I can't do it with it's too difficult to do on a computer. So, and I can hook up the camera in the middle of the program. I can shrink this other one and we can go back to normal. So, without further ado, let's do the single axle trucks first. And I could just make up whatever the hell I wanted to, but I'd rather use something legitimate if I can. Now, a couple of things I found out. I didn't do a deep dive on these trucks, but they had a 40 horsepower engine, which is not exactly mighty. That's pretty wimpy for sure. I can't think of any vehicle nowadays. How did paint get all the way back there? All right, let's just take a little bit of. Just trying to make sure that things don't get out of hand on this cutting mat that I don't use as a cutting mat. All right, we're going to put some white on there. Put some 1 drop of the Flow Aid. And then one of these I've already used and gotten confidence in one of these being really good for detail painting stuff. And it's this one right here. I can't see. Cat Roger, welcome back, man. Long time no see. I've never seen you. Long time no interaction. I guess no time no see sounds better. Long time no see. All right, so the first one we're going to do is one that is supposedly Southwest Front, July 1942. And it has 4 series of numbers. Actually, the first one looks like it's actually a B. So when you're doing a series of numbers, the way I've found to be more successful is actually start in the middle. That way you don't run out of space. So this is like a B symbol. Let's see if I can zoom this in. There we go. There we go. That one right there. So it's like a B, some whatever Russian symbol. I don't speak Russian. I can't read Russian. It's their own fault for not using the language that most of the world, the alphabet that most of the world uses. We got B, a 5, an 04, and a dash 55. So I'm going to start with a 0 first. Get that in the center. That way we don't run out of space. And hopefully there is enough space to do this. What is it? 04? Yeah, there's enough space. And then we have a dash 5, and that's B symbol. So we're going to clean that up a little bit. Actually, we're going to go to the other side. Uh-oh. Let's see what we got here. Still been watching when I can, still doing biblicals, doing World War II tanks. Made an old Airfix Zero kit not long ago and painted some Italy 172nd Japanese infantry. Enjoyed the change. Yeah. Yeah, I'm enjoying all the stuff that has come out in the last 25 years that I didn't know about. All the access to World War II stuff that we didn't have 25 years ago. I've been getting a hankering to do some aircraft. I've never built a Japanese anything. I mean, I did 1/2400 scale stuff in the for Japanese Navy, but I've never built a Japanese aircraft. I've never built a Japanese tank. I do have some Japanese figures, not painted, in 20 millimeter. I'm just not sure what I would do with the Japanese. I think I'd probably do Burma, to be honest with you. You know, New Guinea's not bad, but it's kind of limited in scope. But that's making a lot of foliage. You're making a lot of foliage for that, for sure. And what is that, a 5 in that B symbol? Okay. This one turned out better. Maybe I need to be having as much vodka as those guys did. It's actually pretty. This is the kind of stuff I really enjoy doing. Okay. They had some engagements with the Soviets. Do that. Oh, I don't know. I'm not very interested in the Japanese. I wouldn't dream of driving a vehicle nowadays that's not Japanese, but the World War II Japanese. I also did a crazy thing with 132nd scale airfix infantry, building multi-pose plastic kits, made. God, I just can't see. I just can't see. It's just too far away for me to. I got my contacts out. Multi-purpose plastic can be a mold copy of the helmets, replace the forged caps on the soft plastic ones. Crazy stuff. Bugged me. The original's name never came with helmet. I think you probably mean helmet. Never came with helmets. Did the Japanese, were they like the Russians that had a hard time getting them to wear helmets? So that was the thing. Apparently it was really. Let's see if I can lower this. No, I can't lower it right now. The Russians had a problem getting their soldiers to wear helmets. They're just like, that's a real man just wears cap, and they don't like to wear their PPE. Let's see if we can clean this up. Yeah, the other side's better. Yeah, just clean up a little bit. Yeah, we spent all day yesterday having a rainy day, and today it's rainy and windy. Had I gone on earlier, we would have lost the connection because the power flickered. Not super heavy rain or anything, just steady all day long. Yesterday would have been a terrible day to be at work, so I'd much rather rain on the weekends. There we go, it's a little bit better. That should be good enough. Okay. The next one of these actually has markings on the rear too, on the rear of the back here. That's this one right here, if I can make out what it is. Again, 4 numbers, like a character, 6, 11, and then 80. Or here it looks like 60. Oh, and it's a 4, not a 6. Wow. Okay, let's do the one on the back. Let's do the one on the back first. Like the new setup, terrible weather here this time of year, but at least your connection's good on this end. Good. I was concerned that the connection wasn't going to work because I gave up a really good connection after struggling for it for years. As a matter of fact, that's what took me so long to start doing these sessions is, we basically had to get them, we couldn't do the connections that we had at home before. Okay, that's 60 and then dash 11 and then 4. Okay. All right, I better start in the middle with this 11. We needed to have a cable modem. And we had to create a business line to do that. This fiber is not available where I'm at. Or where I was at. It's not available here either. Okay, and what's before that? A 4? And then some weird Soviet symbol. Cyrillic nonsense. A lot of this is going to be weather anyway, so. All right, let's go to this one's more in the center of the vehicle instead of all the way up against the top. That one was actually up against, there's like a little chamfer, I don't know, a little part of the steel where it comes in almost like a drip line for the water. And the other one's all up against the other one. The one I did, this one's in the middle of the door. do the same thing on the other end. Two down. It has a couple really small symbols here. And these are bigger numbers. Yeah, I like to do them kind of thin down, and then you can always fill in the numbers later. And yeah, it's supposed to be off to one side because these other little symbols here. I don't really know what the heck they are. I'm gonna kind of try to replicate what it looks like they are. Got some details. Geez, needed in my specs. Need glasses for reading. After my pain, especially 1/72. Yeah, well, about what's it been? 7 years ago, I had to take my contacts out. I'm naturally nearsighted, and I never used it to my advantage until it's either that or you have to wear readers. And I got a built-in magnifying glass. Yeah, I didn't like how that turned out. It was a little too wet. Let's just erase that. There we go. Simple enough to do. Let's get the tip of this and just, there we go. Never happened. So I've been nearsighted, forever, since 7 years old or something like that. I wore contacts, so I could basically painting in 20/20 vision until like 7 years ago. I don't know that my painting has gotten any better, I appreciate all the little nooks and crannies on the models a little more. I'm enjoying looking at them a lot more when they're like 6 times bigger. Not 6 times bigger, but a lot. And even with the bottom, kind of. Kind of. Let's build this up. Mine went about 45 years old. Joined for yeah, I think mine went at 44. Yeah, it started to go, and it was really weird because it's as somebody who's been nearsighted their whole life, it is really weird to not be able to see something because it's too close to your eye. That's just weird because it's always been like I could see things really close, and then as you go farther away, you couldn't. It's all right. It's not that big of a deal. Just don't give me the shaky hands. I've got no use for that. And then we'll do the same markings on the other side. And then the single axle trucks will be done. And we'll go to the double axle ones. This is going sideways. Let's just come in here. Just erase lightly. Take the little bit of thing. Hey, it looked like it never happened. I started making the 4 too wide. That was painless. Still too much. All right, I'm not going to be able to put that 4 in the middle like it looks like I should do it. I need to move it over to that side. I got plenty of space to play on the other one. There we go. Never happened. All right, let's move over a little bit from the center. That's the problem I've been doing. '76, right? Yep. 5 or something like that. You suffer with eye strain, can't paint for long periods. I haven't experienced that yet. This is significantly bigger than the other side. Oh well, it was haphazardly done by an alcoholic. Maybe it's because I didn't have coffee this morning. Just didn't feel like having the taste of it. And both of them actually look okay. I just don't even know what that symbol is. All right. It's better than leaving them plain green. That just seems like wasteful. All right, let's look at the 2-axle ones. And this one's really rough looking on purpose. So we're going to start with that one. The 17 smack in the middle of it. And it's got a German 7 with that line in it. What's in front of it? Just a C? Okay. And it literally looks pretty rough. One of those trucks will be transporting vodka from the lawn. From no doubt, yeah, it'll be transporting it in the bellies of some of the people on it. We better drink it now, comrade. We do not know how long it will last. Cool. First Belarusian front, May 1945. Yeah, that's a bit late for my taste. This looks like it was done with a stencil. Well, mine won't be. No dashes on this one. K49 120. Okay. K49 120. Same thing on the other side. And let's just fill this in. K49 120. And in this one, I think I'm gonna make this one the one that has a little red star on it. Is it Soviets did not use red stars on a lot of vehicles, but they did them enough to just add a little bit of something. A-105.99. A-105.99, okay. All right, now, the very first thing I need to do, sooner rather than later, is it's going to take a little bit of drying time. Get my Pledge Finish Floor Care. That's what I use as my gloss coat. Man, this stuff smells good. Okay, we'll do that. We're going to put artistic license, and we're going to put one on this one as well. Okay. Seal this up. I got enough of this stuff. If I don't spill this, I won't ever need to buy any more of this in my entire life. Let's go ahead and get wrong one. That's the readers. Readers and no contacts don't work well together. It's like putting stuff on your face and you still can't see anything. Microsol is damn near useless for me unless you're doing it on a really odd surface. This should take just a little bit of time to dry. And up next is weathering, and then we'll do the windows and the headlights. Okay. Might as well go cut the decals out too. Going to use the smallest of red stars for this. All right. If it's more than 8 inches from my face, I can't see it without glasses on. If I got my contacts out. Here it is. It's doing off on. What are you doing over on this side? That's the problem with having 2 desks. You can have something at another desk. We'll be using the other desk at some point for the, these are the little guys we want right in here. Damn, I only got 4 of them? Well, I can't think of anything that's smaller than I'm going to use a red star that I currently own. So let's go ahead and cut those out. These are the ones from Microscale. Put this back. for some water, do I? I don't. I will be right back in a moment. It's not going to take much. This is probably overkill. Probably. It is. It is overkill. Alright, let's see where Mr. Tweezer went to. One of them in particular. I've got many of them. But the original one that I got from my dad many moons ago is the one that's really good. These other ones that I bought are just pieces of crap. Yeah, this is like a Swiss-made one. I actually went on Amazon to see if I could find how much they went for. I'm like, holy crap, $30 for a tweezer? Holy shit. Well, we'll just hold on to this one. This is made by Peer, P-E-E-R. I've probably had this 40 years. And works really well as far as I'm concerned. Comes to a nice little tip. Comes to a nice point. And we're going to need the drippings known as microset. And let's cut a little. There's that wonderful vinegar smell that microset has. Put the lid on this before we have a problem. I remember when I was a young kid, 11 years old, like using these decals was like the most complicated thing I've ever tried to do in modeling. And now it's like, pfft, they almost set themselves. Looks like it's a little shiny, but it's not. By the time you seal it with a flat, it's gone. Good morning, David. Yeah, it just gives them, a lot of people that just have this attitude that, you know, everything that's not German, that's World War II, is just boring looking. And it's like, well, you do that to yourself. You can give every one of these guys a little bit of personality. Remember, we only know the things that they've taken pictures of. So, as with anything, there's a bit of artistic license that you can use if it seems reasonable to spice some of these things up. American vehicles too. Oh, they all look boring. Oh, well, if you let them be that way, sure. So I want them to all have different labels because when it comes down to, if I ever get around to gaming this, you need to identify what vehicle certain people are in, and if they're identifiable, then it makes it a lot easier. Okay, so we got these two drying. These will be the last two that we dry brush. And let's get rid of this teacup. And we're going to turn this into looking something like this with the weathering. And then I'll tell you about one thing I encountered with decals that never happened to me before. What's the weather look like outside here? Let's see here. Windy and rainy. That's unusual for here. The windy part. It's unusual for it to be windy. I had some old decals that I went to go use, and I had never experienced this before. They got brittle, and as soon as I put them in water, they just shattered. I'd never seen that before. Like it was glass. It was a painted glass that just dropped it on the ground. Just non-recoverable. And that's happened a couple times to really old decals, and it's not that big of a deal, but it just kind of caught me off guard when it happened. So a couple things. We need to weather all these guys, and we also need to cut stands out for them. Now, the nice thing is these guys are narrow enough that the remainder on the stands that I use will be perfect for these. So let me go down here and get my remainders, of which there's a ton of, and see if any of this stuff is usable. And if I can get 6 of them that are the same width. I got a lot of remainders, so let's get the similar stuff on here. That's what I did with my Opel Blitz trucks were the same. They're based on remainders as well. Old Airfix decals turned into a nightmare. Didn't use microsol. Yeah, I don't need to use microsol because this is a flat surface. But if it had, you know, irregularities or rivets or something like that, yeah, I'd have to use that, or it would look sorry. All right, I'm looking for ones that are this similar width. Okay, those two are close. Well, first of all, is this wide enough, or are we just pissing up a rope? No, this is not wide enough. Okay, so anything like this is just not going to work. How about this one? All right, this has a minimum of material all the way around and could work nicely for it. Okay, so this is potentially one I could use. So let's get, okay, this one's also usable. This one's a little wider. I really don't want to cut them down if I don't need to. There's a lot of these that are going to be similar widths because they're a remainder of basing the same vehicle. Like these two are exactly the same. Okay, these are perfect. All right, so I need more like these two. They're like the remainders probably of like the T-34s or something like that I have a whole bunch of. 4 so far. 5. And I try to cut them all the same width if I can, just to be consistent. Okay, so I've got 6. They're all the same width. Perfect. That's the 6 I'm going to use. Let's put all this left over, because we're going to need to goop these guys. These trucks are 1/72nd scale. The rules I plan to use are rules that I've never known anybody else using before. They came out in 2002, called The Face of Battle. And they're out of print now. You can get some parts of them in, not Drive-By RPG, one of those things, one of those virtual ones, but the core rules aren't available anymore. And what I like about them is like I'm going to play in 1-to-1 scale. And what that means is this is one vehicle, and also these are 10 feet from each other. You know, it's what you see is what you get. So just think of it as like a tactical role-playing game, although you're not really doing role-playing stuff. There's different, say role-playing, there's different kinds of role-play. Levels. You know, there's not so much like, you know, character interaction, check for traps kind of crap, but more try one of these and see how it looks. Or I may have to use one that's just fine. And obviously we're going to sand this. I like the rounded corners. It makes them look more like a playing piece. Perfect. Perfect and cute. So yeah, this is 1/72nd scale. This is what I grew up doing as a kid. 15 millimeter didn't exist for World War II when I started doing this stuff, where I started collecting this stuff many years ago. But I have 1/76 scale stuff as well. I mix it happily between the two. I prefer 1/72nd because the figures tend to be oversized, so they look better than with the 1/76 scale vehicles. And there's a lot of 1/76 scale companies that are no longer in business. They make great products, but they're just not around anymore like they used to be. Cromwell Models is one of them. I left World War II for 20 years, came back, and all kinds of companies that I was a big fan of no longer existed. I didn't realize I was keeping them in business that much. Cromwell Models, MMS. And other ones I wasn't really a big fan of, Britannia. Those are actually 1/72nd or 20 mil. 20 mil is just kind of soft. Generally, the 1/72nd, 1/76, 20 millimeter labeled stuff is all pretty much interchangeable. Several other companies that I was a big fan of that Battlefield Miniatures, the old Drew's Militia. Now I understand he's doing some other stuff, but I picked up a lot of this stuff way back in the day, so I've got lots of figures they don't make anymore. And there are lots of figures that are really good. But it's basically one person is one person, and you take actions, you draw for random chit activation. There's some things you can do to improve your chances of having a more effective squad composition, but it's really meant for one person to run about a squad. So, you see 6 trucks here. Yeah, we're not going to do, dismounting 60 guys and, there's 60 guys on the field. I'm building this just like I'm building models. Like, people that build models never do anything with them. They just sit in a case. So just think of it that way, and I may get around to playing a game. But what I really liked about the game is it's zero abstraction and it's percentile. So you don't have to oh, well, you rolled this number and I rolled this one, so this is probably what happened. You know exactly what happened. You know exactly where the round lands. And that may not be for everybody, but, games that are vague in World War II just don't appeal to me to build World War II stuff. I can't handle that. It's a long-barreled Panzer III. Well, which one? Well, it just is. No. You go get somebody else to build models, because I'm not interested in it. I need more reason to build something different, paint it different. I'm going through a lot of effort trying to make these things look correct and good and everything, and I'm just not going to deal with that kind of vagueness. It's not for me. And I guess you get that way if you're playing a time period that's really your jam. I know this guy who did his thesis. He's a PhD history professor, and he did his thesis on Napoleonic stuff. And he's a war gamer, and he never plays Napoleonic games because it just doesn't live up to the expectation that he wants. I'm that way about this. I'm really that way about naval stuff. I grew. That was like a flicker or something. All the power lines in this neighborhood are underground, but the feeders are not. So if the feeders start having trees rub into them and stuff like that, we're going to get flickers, and hopefully we don't lose power, because that means bye-bye to the feed. So If for some reason you say you see that my feed's gone and I didn't say goodbye, well, that's what happened. We're done for today. We'll just have to pick it up another day. But I grew up, the first thing I really got into World War II was the naval stuff. And I don't mean the Pacific. I mean, Bismarck, Scharnhorst, surface raiders, all that kind of stuff. Never cared for the Pacific. It's too... Aircraft carriers ruin it all. I mean, if you want to play naval surface games, you want to see, all the food groups, not just, aircraft dominating and the big guns not ever getting to shoot at anything as a general rule. Now, I have done Pacific, but it's been, ABDA up until Guadalcanal. After Guadalcanal, it just becomes too, like, why am I doing this? Didn't say they're not challenges, they're just not, even challenges. So. Okay, so these pretty much are ready to go. Let's see what we can salvage of most of this stuff right here. But same thing, you wouldn't catch me playing, one of those, any of the games, any of the Warlord games, those ship games that come on a flip-flop. It's just not my thing. I need much more detail, or I'll just not play it, Although that's easy to avoid. It's hard, it's hard actually to find people that have any kind of interest in naval wargaming. It seems to be kind of a thing that not very many people are interested in. Let's cut off this piece. This is old as dirt. It's like brittle, almost like cracks. We're just going, actually, we don't need to use a piece that big. There we go. Let's just sand some of these corners off. Doesn't have to be perfect, but a little better than that doesn't hurt. And then we'll put the magnets on the bottom of these, and we'll goop them, and that way we might be able to finish them at some point. It's going to take a couple hours for that stuff to dry. Looks like I already had picked which side was front, which one was back, because I like to score the front of this so the goop sticks on there a little bit better. Not that it's really a problem, but I'm like, why not do it? We'll pick the side of it, whichever side is the roughest to be that side. The magnet sticks a lot better if it's smooth. All of my stuff that's finished is on these stands with magnets, and some people just really have an aversion to putting vehicles on stands. And I'm like, look, there's some vehicles that are going to have to be on stands. Motorcycles, really flimsy type things. So, do you want some of your vehicles on stands and most not, or just be consistent? And since I want them magnetized for the purpose of traveling, or in my case, moving, which just happened recently, I didn't have a single vehicle bump into another vehicle. So, and I just like that I can, if I run out of magnets, I can put them on the refrigerator and hold things down. If I really need to, there is that option. But I know a lot of people, that's one of the first things they ask. What rules do you use? And, rules just don't appeal to everybody. Just because something's popular doesn't mean shit to me, I'm not playing something that other people need to bring their stuff to play. It's going to be all of my stuff, so, I grew up playing, the first thing I played World War II was Command Decision, which is a 1 to 5 scale system. Kind of like rapid fire. And that was kind of the gold standard for a while for me. There's a lot of things that that game did pretty well, and there's a lot of things that just seem kind of vague. And I've played Rapid Fire, I've played Flames of War, I've played other things in between, and you just don't even... You know, there's some things that Flames of War do that are kind of cool. Their website's excellent. They have an excellent website. A lot of resources and stuff on there on history and things like that. Their products seem to be pretty good. I don't do them because they're the wrong scale for me. But that's an operation. Well, even though they claim that it's a 1-to-1 scale game, it doesn't feel like a 1-to-1 scale game when you're playing it. You know, 1-to-1 scale game needs to have the detail of squad leader or more, in my opinion. And, you know, Flames of War is not even close to that. Now, my biggest problem with squad leader actually is, well, there is stuff on the bottom of this old paint that I guess is sticky enough that it still wants to transfer over to this. So we're going to take this piece of cardboard that misbehaves and we're going to retire it. And it's paint that's several days old. There we go. Hand sanitizer to the rescue. You take care of things that you own, folks. Lest ye might have to buy more. Okay, now we get some magnets that fit on those. This is the magnet drawer, and there should be remnants left over. That we can use for that. Okay. Did I give all my scissors away? Probably. I probably don't have a single one here. We could use it. We could get by with an X-Acto knife. See, this whole time I was doing this, these are getting cured, so we'll be able to just roll right into these guys. What did I do with the... There it is. Is width okay? Yeah. All right, so we want to go just shy of the edges, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So something like this would probably be all right. These are really, really light. That's about perfect. So I may run one of these games and nobody likes this game except me. Oh well. I'll play another game. Just, you know, I was coming up with my own set of rules, and a buddy of mine, I came across these about 6 months into creating my own rules. I'm creating my own rules for my own play, not to sell it. I mean, it's not what motivates me. And these were pretty close to what I was interested in. You know, there's a couple things that, if I'm doing this tactical type of thing, that are pretty much non-negotiables. And one of the things that's non-negotiable is that there's a lot of chaos, and you can only control so much. But one of the things that is a godsend is a set of rules that does not have opportunity fire. Because opportunity fire is what really slows a game down. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you got a guy here and he's got something, who's watching something, and you put some kind of counter or something on him, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna move across here, and then all right, oh no, never mind, come back. So then you have to come back and move things back, and there's that kind of issue. There's no opportunity fire in the game. The closest thing to it is machine guns can put down a thing called fire lanes, and you walk into that, you know, it has an effect on them. There's no opportunity fire in the game, you know, because it's really short turns. So, does it appeal to everybody? No, but some guy liked the tacticalness. There's at least 3 people that were interested in that kind of thing. Me, the guy who created that game, and my buddy. And, you know, if it plays, so the only problem is he wasn't really, he wasn't available to play every week. He was traveling. By the time we got around to that point, he was traveling all the time. I had a place where I could leave things set up if I wanted to, but he was going wherever the Army told him. So we didn't get to play it much. So like, I've never even used vehicles. I've read the vehicle rules, but I've never used vehicles before. And I have pretty close to 100 painted vehicles by the time we're done with these 6. All right, so this is done. The other advantage these things have is that you can put these on a device. Like this. And then when you put stuff on it, it's not all over your fingers as much. I did say as much, because it still happens. All right, let's get the Vallejo rough gray pumice. And the spackler. So I don't try to convert anybody, you know. I don't really care if anybody doesn't play these set of rules. It's not because it needs to make me happy, or I'm just not going to build any more stuff for it. You know, so it is not the end goal. My end goal is not to get around to playing this. It's kind of, you know, I'm building these things because I enjoy doing them. I get to learn about history. It's therapeutic, and it has the possibility of sometime playing a game that I'm interested in playing. But that's not the end goal. If I never play it again, I'm okay with that too. It's not complicated, it's just multifaceted and my workload at work doesn't leave me a whole lot of motivation to work hard at trying to understand other things that I'm not getting paid for. Okay, this one's ready to go. Next. And yeah, the games will be filmed if I ever get around to playing them. So it's not like I'm playing stuff and you guys, I don't have videos of it going on. No, it's fun to make game videos. So if I'm doing any kind of face-to-face gaming with miniatures, there'll be a video for it. So you don't see any videos, it's probably because I'm not doing any face-to-face gaming. Which is true. I'm played on Monday nights for 8 months, probably 6-8 months, ever since it got hot. This stuff is, since the last time I used it, I feel like it's dried up a lot. I may have to go order more of this stuff on Amazon. It's the only place that has it. No stores carry this. Rain again. Well, I've said it before, I'd rather it rain every weekend and never on the weekdays than the other way around. Because if it's rainy, I got to be up in it and work. And it makes my job that much more difficult and inconvenient dealing with papers and stuff. At least we haven't had any lightning, but still, it's a pain in the ass. Plus, some people canceling shit too, so it's extra drama. And this stuff's water cleanup, so if you forget to clean this thing off properly, next time you use it, just dip it in water and it comes right off. Softens up. It's kind of like grits. Not that you guys would know what that is, but really rocky grits. I don't want any of it on the edges. I want the edges to be smoothie. Okay, that will dry. I will wipe this down, but I'm not going to go dump it in water because this thing is, I had one of these actually got some corrosion on it. Nothing big. I'd take steel wool and get it off, but That's a project for another day. All right, now back to weathering. What time is it? How long have we been on here? Gotta be a couple hours, or close to a couple hours. Let's see. Nope, an hour and a half. Okay. So now we're going to go to the weathering stage. We're going to take, there's 3 colors that get dry brushed on these stands to make them look like this. For the colors I happen to like to use. Chocolate brown is the base. We will not be dry brushing chocolate brown on the vehicles, but the other 2 colors we will be. And they are US Field Drab and Iraqi Sand. Look at that, I put them right where they need to be. Well, that means the chocolate brown needs to be here. So that way the 3 are boom, 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 right next to each other. What's going on here? Let's put this here. And then they can be boom, boom, boom. Okay. Let's get a, man, that was loud. It's this falling on the base of the lamp. Man, that was really, really loud. All right, so we're going to do the US Field Drab first. And this just takes time, but honestly, this is pretty relaxing because it's pretty forgiving, unless you end up using too much paint, and then it just doesn't turn out how you wanted it to. And I don't like to go crazy on the tires. I do still like to make them look like they were at least rubber at some point. But if you use these same colors that you dry brush on the base, it'll tie the vehicle into the base and it looks like, hey, it's really there. This is an area where they're going to be stepping in to get on the door, so it needs to have some extra weathering on it. Just a little bit of dusting up. And remember, you still have one more color that we're going to add to this, so you don't want to go the whole hog on here. And of course, we're kicking up a lot of dirt when we're going down the road. We still want the back of this truck to be green. We want to make sure this is dusty like. Now the only thing, probably the most unrealistic thing that I do when I paint, and it's a stylistic choice for me, is if you're painting tires and you're going to put dirt on tires, okay? Tires have a tread. So the dirt is going to be, and sometimes even stay in the recesses of the tread. Doing this method, you actually have the recesses of the tread clean, the recesses of the tread, the recesses of the tread cleaner than the rest of the tire. But it's a stylistic choice because what happens is if you use all those powders and stuff like that, you can't notice the details of this vehicle 3 feet away. It just ends up becoming like just a blended mess. And it's a stylistic choice that I happen to like, but it's actually the opposite of how it should be. Similar, like if you've watched any kind of whitewash videos, how to use whitewash on a vehicles. I haven't tried one of them yet, but I've watched a lot of them. There's no doubt I'll probably come up with my own method that works for me. You know, incorporating all the different opinions that people have on it. But there's some people that are the frame of thought of, the vehicle, like say if you have a green vehicle, it's green, and then you apply whitewash over it, they actually paint the vehicle completely white, and they dry brush the green on it. And I wouldn't be able to do that because, it's counterintuitive. Like with my vision, I'd be able to see it that it's thicker in the places where it doesn't have the second coating, right? I mean, if you've got whitewash that's on top of paint, it's thicker than the other paint. It would just bug me to no end. So, but there's some people that like to do that. It's a stylistic choice, so just do whatever makes you happy. Screw everybody else. It's your vehicle. You get to do it. Last thing you want to do is be discouraged from creating more things because of naysayers. I really don't care what other people say. It's like, okay, you don't like it, let me show you what you're doing. And if I like your stuff better than the stuff I'm doing, then okay, you have a point. Otherwise, just let me do it my way. I'm happy with how it turns out. So I don't try to convert anybody. If you're happy with the way you're doing it, dude, go ahead and do it. You don't have anything nice to say about somebody's creations, then just shut the hell up, Don't discourage people from their therapy. I think it was another flicker. Yeah. Well, like I said, if we get cut off, well, Mother Nature's just being a bitch right now. I think we're going to stop right there on this color. I know we don't have the windshields done yet, or the headlights, and I really like doing the headlights. That really brings it to life. It's kind of like the face of the vehicle, the headlights. Yeah, I hear that. That's just with one coat. With one color, I should say, not one coat. Saw that I missed a spot right here. Going up here. Running boards and Running board slash fender, I should say. That one's done until we do the other color on it. Okay, next truck. And the bottom undercarriage is really handy to get the color how you want it. You guys hear that? I don't know if that's rain or wind or both. Some kind of storm came out through the Gulf and came out in the deluge yesterday. I mean, we can use the rain. And actually, yesterday the weather wasn't that bad. It wasn't really windy or anything. Let me take a look at what the heck that is. Oh yeah, it's super freaking windy. Super, super windy. Gusty. And I don't paint the headlights and then weather them. They're just pretty much clean. They're stylized anyways. They're cartoon-like. And I don't mean that in a bad way. That's how I like them. That's how my Opel Blitz trucks turned out, which I was really happy with. I had those models for so many years. models, man, they turned out okay. The suspension and stuff's real finicky on them though. Definitely a candidate for having them on some kind of a base. Well, almost ran that across the paint there. Hold on a second, I'll be right back in a moment. All right, we're back, but we're gonna cut this one off because I've got to go take care of something. I've got a flagpole that's not enjoying this weather too much, so I'm gonna go deal with that. But thanks for coming by, folks, and yeah, we got quite a bit of stuff done, and still a little bit later to go. So we will be back finishing up the Soviet trucks.